She never knew a single act of kindness could cost her job, but the very next day, it gave her everything she'd ever dreamed of. Stay till the end, this is a story you'll never forget. It was a quiet morning in the heart of Atlanta. The sun had just begun to pour through the tall glass windows of the Golden Spoon Cafe, a place where the smell of roasted coffee beans danced with the soft tunes of jazz. Among the busy footsteps and clinking cups, Aaliyah, a young waitress with gentle eyes and a heart full of hope, tied her apron and whispered to herself. Another day, another chance to make it right. She wasn't just working for tips, she was working for a dream. Her mother's health bills were piling up, her younger brother needed school supplies, and every extra dollar she earned mattered. But what made her different was that no matter how hard life hit her, she always carried a smile that made even the grumpiest customer feel welcome. That morning, a man in a simple blue shirt and worn-out jeans walked in. He didn't look like the regular crowd that filled the cafe. The business people, the influencers, the well-dressed customers taking pictures of their breakfast. He looked ordinary, quiet, observing. Aaliyah noticed him standing near the door. Instead of ignoring him like some other waitresses did, she walked over and said warmly, "Good morning, sir. Would you like a table by the window? The sunlight's perfect there." He smiled faintly and nodded. She led him to the table, handed him a menu, and poured him a cup of freshly brewed coffee. "Take your time," she said kindly. "Our pancakes are a bit of sunshine too, just like this morning." He chuckled softly. Something about her voice carried sincerity, not the forced politeness most servers had learned to use. What Aaliyah didn't know was that the man wasn't just any customer. He was Mr. Harrison Blake, the owner of the cafe chain. He had been hearing complaints from customers that some branches had lost their warmth, that staff treated guests like numbers, not people. So, he decided to visit this location undercover to see the truth for himself. And that truth was standing right in front of him, wearing a black apron and a heart full of grace. As the day went on, things got busy. One of Aaliyah's coworkers, Tina, was frustrated. She accidentally spilled coffee on a customer's jacket, and the manager, Mr. Collins, began to yell in front of everyone. "Do you realize how expensive that shirt is?" he shouted. The cafe fell silent. Tina stood frozen, her eyes watering. Without thinking twice, Aaliyah stepped in. "Sir, it was an accident," she said calmly. "I'll cover the cleaning cost." Mr. Collins turned, his face hard. "Stay out of this, Aaliyah. This is not your business." But she didn't step back. She gently took the coffee-stained napkin, apologized to the customer, and offered him a fresh cup on the house. The man in the blue shirt, the undercover boss, watched everything quietly. Later that day, Aaliyah noticed him struggling with his phone near the counter. He was trying to pay but seemed unsure about the new digital system. "Don't worry, sir," she said softly. "Take your time, technology can be tricky sometimes." When the card machine failed, she paid for his coffee out of her own pocket. "You can settle it next time," she smiled. "Coffee tastes better when it's shared, right?" Mr. Collins saw it, and that was the final straw. That evening, as customers left and chairs were being stacked, Mr. Collins called Aaliyah into his office. "Aaliyah," he said coldly, "you broke company policy today. You paid for a customer's order and interfered in management issues." She tried to explain. "Greater than, sir, I was only trying to help." He looked like he was having a tough day. "Enough," he interrupted. "We can't run a charity here. You're terminated, effective immediately." Aaliyah stood frozen, her world spun. She'd given her all, and this was how it ended. With trembling hands, she untied her apron and placed it gently on the counter. "Thank you for the opportunity," she whispered, her voice cracking. As she walked out of the cafe, the lights inside flickered off behind her, but the light within her never dimmed. That night, Aaliyah sat at her kitchen table, staring at her mother's photo. "Mama," she whispered, "I don't know what I did wrong. I just wanted to do good." Her younger brother, Caleb, walked in, sleepy-eyed. "Did something happen at work?" She smiled weakly. "Nothing we can't handle, baby. Go back to sleep." But as she looked out the window, a quiet tear rolled down her cheek. The next morning, Aaliyah was startled by the sound of a car pulling up. It wasn't just any car, it was a black luxury sedan. Out stepped the same man from yesterday. You're the customer from the cafe," she said, surprised. He smiled kindly. "Yes, and you're the reason I'm here." He handed her a white envelope. Inside was a letter with gold lettering that read, "Offer of employment, manager, Golden Spoon Cafe." She looked up, confused. This must be a mistake. No mistake, he said warmly. I'm Harrison Blake, the owner. Yesterday, you showed more leadership, compassion, and integrity than anyone I've seen in years. You stood up for what's right, even when it cost you your job. Aaliyah's hands trembled. You were the boss. He nodded. And now, I want you to lead. People like you are the reason this business exists, to make others feel human. When Aaliyah walked back into the cafe the next day, everyone froze. Tina gasped. Aaliyah, you're back. She smiled gently. Not just back, said Mr. Blake, stepping beside her. She's your new manager, Mr. Collins' face turned pale. He stuttered. Sir, I had no idea. Mr. Blake interrupted calmly. You didn't need to know who I was to treat people right. You just needed to care. Unfortunately, that's something Aaliyah understands better than most. Collins was reassigned to another branch for retraining. And from that day forward, the cafe changed. The customers smiled more, the team worked with heart, and the warmth that once faded returned, all because one woman refused to let kindness die. Weeks later, Aaliyah stood by the same window where she'd once served coffee. She watched a young waiter helping an elderly man find his seat. She smiled proudly. That's how it begins, she whispered. One act of kindness at a time. The jazz music played softly again, and as the sunlight poured in, she realized life had come full circle. Her kindness had cost her a job, but it also gave her purpose, dignity, and a future she could finally call her own.